Welcome to the Wild Pitch Podcast, hosted by Brian Gales, Jimmy Gales, Brian Dorsey, and Christopher Rojas.
All right, welcome to the Wild Pitch. Wait, what's that? Oh, must be a slider coming.
Slider.
I heard the garbage pail right there.
Yeah. Gotta spit on that one.
That was definitely a slider. So episode 2, I'd actually like to get into some of that. I'm curious what your guys' reaction is to this whole sign stealing. I know we've all been through it. We've all stolen signs at some point in our game, but this, I'm not going to share mine until you guys are done. But what do you guys think? What's that?
Overblown.
So, Chris, you think it's overblown?
Yep.
Explain.
He's just mad about Beltran.
Well,
Let's get this straight. This is so personal for you. I mean,
It
Carlos
is. It's
Beltran in
disappointing.
your homeland, Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
You played with him.
Teammate, yeah. I mean,
Alex Cora.
another former teammate.
Yeah. So, what are you going to be doing this year for New York Tech? What are you working?
Easy. No, I think. Well, look, I actually do. Putting that aside, those guys obviously are collateral damage, but I think it is overblown. And I know you guys are nodding your head over there, thinking, "What the hell is he talking about?"
No.
For me, it's no different. Well, I take this back. The only thing different is how the information is being, I guess, extracted, right? And even then, when you look at history, there's been other instances where stuff has come out now. La Russa had technology in center field. You hear about the Mets, and they used to film the third base coach and to gather signs. And
But I think filming a third base coach during a game and going back and trying to break him down, that's fine.
yeah,
I
I think I guess the egregious aspect of it is how instant the technology usage is, and I guess the other component is they put it in paper, right? That this is now a rule where you can't use technology. But when you think about cheating per se or sign stealing, like I don't see it any different than what people have tried to do in the past, as the theory of it, I guess. And I also have other, I guess thoughts as to why I got this far. You know what I mean? So, but I'll get to that a little later.
Oh, okay. Get a little tidbit for it, a
Yeah.
little secret, huh? Well, listen, we all know that it's part of the game, but Brian, what's your thought on it?
No, I mean, yeah, it's part of the game to a certain extent. They obviously went a bit too far when you're talking about having a video room set up for it and using video. I mean, when a guy's in real time, and what they're saying now with having a buzzer on your body, and
That's
the way the game is now, and guys throwing 100 miles an hour and knowing what's coming off speed or fastball. I mean, just a huge advantage.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree with that by any stretch of the imagination. They had a tremendous advantage. So,
I played plenty of guys when we would pick up signs and didn't even want to know them.
Well,
Even when you
because
could.
it wasn't foolproof.
Yeah,
probably.
that's the
It
thing. I was
wasn't-
one of those guys. I didn't want to know what was coming. That being said, because I wasn't sure that they knew. I mean, they didn't have obviously the technology,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to have to look at the guy at second base and have that in my
And
mind.
pick up the pitcher's window.
Yeah, and then but yeah, if they would have buzzed my body and
yeah.
So
all
there's
the
nasty
laws. We
hooks
don't know
coming?
about the
Yeah,
buzzing of the
Well,
ball.
I'm ready for
actually, I have sources that tell me that's
I believe it.
legit happened. That the buzzer thing legit happened. If you look at the report, and I didn't read the report in detail, I just saw like excerpts of it. They don't necessarily rule it out. They just say they didn't find any evidence of it. So it's not like.
And they're very, very careful to always include it as the banging, like in quotes apparently, the banging of the garbage can.
Yeah.
So we're talking about this specifically, so they
Right.
cover their butt a little bit.
But that clip of Altuve after the home run, and he's telling him, "Don't take my shirt off,"
Yeah.
and he goes into the dugout. I mean, it's pretty apparent that
Yeah.
he had something under there.
Sure. So Jim, what's your whole initial take?
I just feel that I'm a little bit with you to certain aspects, but you can't they can't defend against it.
No,
So
agreed.
when we played, if somebody knew there was a sign, you got one up and in. You got hit or warned, right? So, and I'm like Brian, as a hitter, I didn't want to know, and I think more than half our team probably didn't want to know because I had that first base coach calling out my first name fastball, and everyone, oh, sorry, dude, I didn't see it so good.
How about that time Brian got into Coach Lyons when we were playing the championship game at Tech?
Oh man, that was we're playing Chaminade, and Jack Lyons is coaching first, who we've grown to love and big supporter of us. We used to like battle the league together. But
He was
the
stealing
guy
the
was
signs.
listen. He's been around the game a long time. He's actually really good at what he did, but it would drive us up a wall. And Brian just basically said, you're going to get one of your players hurt. And he looked at him like, because we had that pro ball mentality.
Yeah.
And then even last year we play Augustana, the national champs. And we got Ray Gianelli, another fiery, great baseball guy, played in the major leagues. And he's yelling at the college kids. I'm like, you can't do that at this level. But he's talking about guys getting worn out, by fastballs. And, it was a little bit of the pro mentality. But listen, I knew as a hitter that if guys went back to back in front of me, home runs, my at bat, I was useless that at bat for a while. Like I thought for sure he's going to drill me.
Right.
I mean, it was stupid, but that's what it was. They hit you. Even though I was an easier out. I got drilled a couple times.
So let's hold that because so we can get everybody's quick thought on it. So Brian, what's your quick
I'm
hot
mixed.
take?
You say you can't defend against what the Astros did, but I think you could have. If you.
No, I don't. I think he meant you couldn't defend their actions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I misunderstood you.
No. I said you don't know that the signs are getting stolen. Banging on a garbage pail. How dumb is the other team to not hear that? How dumb are you
I
to
see. So you did mean that.
even think that that's okay? Like, oh, I'm just going to make this humongous noise right here that's going to pass my manager's head, and no one's going to
It
know.
worked.
It's crazy that it worked. But it didn't work because they had to change it. But here's the thing that put me over the top of it being wrong was when we looked at it, the pitches that the guys were taking, the nasty stuff that, it was a ball, but as pitchers, you guys, that you throw that slider that's in the zone and just comes out at the
How
end.
did he take that?
Those
Yeah.
guys were going
Gotta
from,
be effing me.
what are the numbers? We can look it up, and I'm pretty sure that the 1-1 pitch, that next pitch determines everything in your at-bat. It's hundreds of points swing.
Breaking ball, they're all
Oh
sitting.
yeah.
So now that guy knows you're hurting that guy's career. I mean, guys are throwing nasty pitches, ball, and they are just spitting on it. That's when I was like, you know what? That's not fair. Because they didn't know, especially if they're getting buzzed, which, Chris is, from the Puerto Rican society there where they all cheat. A bunch of cheaters. But what our buddy who played with the Mets said, he played with Beltran and Cora at the same time. And he said even then it wasn't that, but they were doing all kinds of stuff, scheming all kinds of things, anything to get an edge.
That's professional sports.
No,
Anything to get
totally fine, yeah. I happened to be in the Dodger system with Cora. We took ground balls together all the time. He was a great guy, and he's really beloved. He's a good guy. But he was known, even then, he was just about, this like AAA big league guy going back and forth. We knew as like first year Dodger farmhands that Alex Cora is going to be a big league manager for a long time. He's the smartest guy they've ever had. Like, it was ridiculous. They talked about him like he was Casey Stengel,
That's interesting.
Yeah, from day one.
Yeah.
And I think I told you, Chris, it was in extended because we were both hurt. And he says he gets on the mound and no, they put me on the mound in front of like 100 players because I'm introducing myself. And I say, yeah, I go to New York Tech. And he says, wait, New York Tech? He's like, isn't my school, Miami, playing New York Tech right now? I'm like, yeah, my brother's down. He's like, yeah, we're kicking your butt. And so now he's like the big star.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, I always thought you guys were pretty good. You had these great records, but now I know you just invite Northeast schools down to your school and you beat them up. I said, now I know why Miami has 40 wins a year. And the whole place went, oh, my God. And he laughed. He was good.
Great.
Yeah. So
That is good.
I stuck him.
Yeah, that is good. So, Brad, I know we cut you off.
No. I just think it goes back to, I don't know if this is a great quote, but if you're not cheating, you're not trying. I don't hate what they did. I do see the wrong side of it, and I see how it potentially may have hurt some guys on the other side of it. But I don't think if this happened 15 years ago, it would be what it is today right now, because it goes back to social media for me.
You know who screwed this whole thing up? Excuse me, is Crane firing the guys. All it would have been 1 year, it would have been long forgotten.
Yeah. Well, see,
firing those guys screwed them.
So that's where when I say it's overblown, that's what I'm really, really, I guess, addressing, because all of a sudden everybody got on their soapbox, right, of righteousness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, this guy was the manager that won you a national championship, a world title, world championship, and and the lengths that they went, things that they had to do to put the system in place. I know not everything always goes up to the top, and you can only speculate. But where did it stop? Somebody was aware of this, right? But with that being said, it's like, if you're that concerned, and you feel, and I know this is, probably, absurd to even think. And maybe I'm thinking more of the players, and I'll get back to and I'll address Mike Fires and his situation, but vacate your championship. If you're that righteous,
right?
You know what I mean? How about all the World Series shares, all the playoff shares that these guys, all the extra money that these guys make, all the revenue that the franchise makes getting into the playoffs, right? These guys still get to keep their rings, and Mike Fires, everybody is. He's beloved now, right? And I get it. They feel
he is. You think?
I think it's mixed.
I wanted to ask your opinion on it. I think he's terrible.
Well, see, I think he's being put on a pedestal for, I guess, coming out, being brave enough to come out and expose this is what he's being, I guess, presented with, someone who's brave and they giving him his due respect, I guess, in that regard, but. My thing is, all right, you're calling this out. You're calling this out because you think this is an injustice. Well, you made a lot of money because of it, right? Mm-hmm. You got a World Series ring because of it, right?
Donated to charity.
Yeah. Don't stop there. Don't stop at just exposing it. Then because otherwise, you're not really convicted, right? You're not really truly convicted, and you're not really truly being righteous. You just decided to spill the beans about something, and now you still get to reap all the rewards that you gained because of this action, right? So that's I guess my disappointment is, and the overblown aspect of it is guy gets fired. MLB did their investigation, right? They suspend the two, I guess, lead, guys for Houston as it relates to the manager and the GM. And then you go the extra mile by firing them, right? So what was that? What was the move there? What was the PR move there? I guess
It's media driven.
Someone had to take the fall, and I have no issues with them getting fired. I mean,
but that
they're
more
running,
serious to the public. They didn't. It would have been like, Sean Payton got suspended for a year and nobody even remembers.
Right. Now, look, maybe they lied to the owner, and maybe that's, there's other probably aspects of it that we're not fully
we might not know.
On the face of what happened, I think it was
there's a few things that have happened within that organization. And there's a lot of things I think that go on in that organization that people don't know about.
Right.
So I think there's more.
The assistant GM has some issues.
He was trying to get out in front of starting over almost because he's got a bad reputation on many levels for little incidents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the female reporter thing.
Yeah.
But there's even more. There's more than that going on over there. So I think it was an opportunity to start fresh. And
I'm disappointed in the Red Sox and Mets for firing those two guys. I think that they did that so that they didn't have to deal with.
Well, Cora's the
Social-
mastermind. That's why.
Yeah, but they do that so they don't have to deal with the social media and the media. At some point, I'm just looking for somebody to stand up to the media and social media. It's getting in the way sometimes.
Beltran, that
should've
was
kept his job.
that was unfortunate. Cora, I mean, he was part of it in 2017.
But suspend him for 1 year and be done with it.
2018 as well, right? So they're
Yeah, there was
that
almost
didn't-
talk of a lifetime ban for him. Like, I mean, I don't even. They haven't finished the investigation.
yeah.
on the Red
So
Sox
he's
thing,
gonna get some type of suspension.
But think about people out there, like the public. He should be banned for a lifetime ban. That is the most absurd thing.
Yeah.
Listen. You think he would steal signs if that was even in the back of his mind as a punishment? It's like, obviously.
Right. So the
You
whole
know.
cheating aspect of it, there was no baseline of what a penalty would be if you got caught. Right.
Mhm.
PEDs now, you get caught. We know you're gonna get
Yeah.
suspended, 80 games. And if you do it, then it's 2 years, right, or a year, second time,
I think it's a year.
and then third time is you're out of the
Life.
game.
Lifetime ban.
Yeah. So you know.
Right.
Pete Rose knew when he gambled that it said in the locker room that he was banned for life. He knew that. It was right there for him. These guys would never do that if that was the consequence. So let's drop that. I
Yeah.
mean. But Mike Fiers, for me, is I could never. If I'm his teammate, that guy can't play on my team.
See, you say that now. You know, a lot of people are gonna be offended that you just said that.
You can't. It's
But
a
why?
sacred place.
Exactly. So
It's it doesn't matter what it is. Like you said, if he wanted to be that guy and, die on
yeah.
the
If you're
sword,
that disgusted,
He missed his
retire from the
chance.
game.
then
Yeah.
retire. You're
Yeah.
not welcome anywhere. You're just doing the right thing. I'm out of this game. I'm disgusted by this
Right.
game.
No.
Here's my money back. Here's
You
my
go
ring.
back. You go back to the time it occurred, and if you're that good and that righteous, that's when you stop it.
Right.
Yes.
Not now.
Yes. Yeah.
It's too late. You miss your
No,
opportunity.
look, we
You can
don't
tell your
know.
teammates in the Oakland locker room, hey, guys, this is what's happening. Because I think everybody in the league, we know in college that we're going to show a kid signs and he's going to be going to another school down the road. It's just going to happen with a
Yeah.
former high school player. That's cool. But we know, all right, we got to be a little bit alert here. We got to change our sign, our indicator. And I think if Mike Fiers is coming into play against us and I'm the Astros, I go, hey, let's knock it off today. Or he knows.
Right.
What prompted him to come
He
out?
said because guys are losing jobs. And it's like,
Talking about the young guys getting called up and they're getting put in a bad situation and not able to make something out of their career because they're
Well, he watched them lose
Yeah.
jobs in 2017. He didn't say anything.
right.
right.
And, listen, we played in locker rooms. And I remember on one of my teams that one guy was going home and telling his wife everything that happened on the team. We're a family, right? And everybody's wives and their children. And so we basically who is this guy that's telling his wife, trying to be all righteous to his wife about maybe some jerk on the team, because there was some jerks there too. But that's not.
Yeah.
It's a inner sanctum there. So we were putting out false stories
To see who was leaking.
to see who it was. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and we got him.
What happened to him?
Nothing. We just called him out on it, and he was embarrassed. And
Did he get fined in kangaroo court?
I don't think we had one then. But it was bad, though. It's just that's your. We know in the firehouse, it doesn't happen anymore.
Times are changing.
But that's your brotherhood. That shouldn't leave. All he has to do is go to the front office and say, guys, this is not right. And maybe tell the owner who didn't know, and he would have squashed it.
I compare it to other industries. I like to let's just kind of do a hypothetical here. You've got guys who are trying to make money, right? Trying to be successful. They're trying to make money. They're trying to gain an edge. Do anything they can. If we go to somebody else's industry, stock market, I don't know. Throw something out at me. and if somebody can gain an edge, tell me that they're not doing it. And then if they are crossing the line, they're not going to be banned for life. They'll pay their penalty if they get caught. They'll get in trouble, whatever. All of a sudden, because this is a media-driven thing, these people are trying to be alienated and told, ban them for life. To me, it's...
Some of the guys in the stock market might go to jail.
Well, you know that the risks are, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like Mike Fires, I'm assuming he's never, ever tried to put pine tar on the ball, I guess. He's never... He must be...
That's right.
There was some pictures
of him putting pine tar on the ball?
of his hat.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Cheater!
Exactly.
There was some pictures.
You would not be
They
happy
could have
with
been.
him.
They could have been.
No,
imposed.
and I'm not saying I am. I'm not. I just think people. You hear that now, and I think it's a false reward. You know what I mean? Again, if he was that, like they say, if you're about that life, be about that life. Then. If you're like pure, then be pure, and if you're that convicted, then be that convicted. But don't stand there, outing people, and then. Again, you still get to reap the benefits of all the money and the rewards of that world title, right? So it's like you're fugazi, as they say, right? You're full of it. So
Let's bring it to travel ball. A guy brings down a kid that's too old. He plays.
Yeah, the Amante.
Should he be banned for life?
That's actually
the dad. Who?
The guy who brought the kid down.
That's really bad.
I mean, it's a big problem.
That's a really bad thing. I can't believe
It goes on a lot.
It's usually wrongly accused though, because all you have to do is ask for birth certificate. So.
No, I mean, but look, going back to the Astros though, they're so smug and obnoxious about the whole thing, and even still now, like Bregman. The nerve of him and his, when they asked him about it recently, the MLB handled the investigation. They've already handed down their penalties, and you can see it in the report essentially. And then you can look back at the clip where he's sitting at post game at the table, and the reporters asked him about a certain pitch that he barreled up, and he goes, well, I don't know, maybe I knew what was coming, and him and Correa start cracking up, right? I mean, it's like.
And then Cora talking about Beltran working for the Yankees, and he's like, he's got all the details over there.
Right.
We got to watch out.
It was in London, I believe.
Yeah.
They scored a bunch of runs in 2 days, and he talked about that.
I forget the word he used, but he had the smirk on. And you're like, wow. I guess when you don't know any info, you get away with that stuff. And they're probably having laughs on the inside.
Yeah.
Going, look what I said. But now it looks terrible. Jeez.
It's not a good look for baseball. I mean, that's for sure.
I think it is. I think it's been in the news. I think at the end of the day, it's entertainment. All that stuff. Like people say, like you did, like, oh, it's bad for the game. No way. People are talking about it. It's good. Now it's exciting. What are the Astros going to do this year? Is Mike Fiers going to be welcome on his team? Is he going to get lit up?
There's a lot of storylines out there now.
Now, every time we're going to look, is Altuve going to hit as well this year? Is he
Right.
going to?
Which he will.
Yes,
He
I would
will.
think so.
I mean, he just may not hit the 2-1 slider out of the park to win the game, but
But now they say that's why Chapman was smiling. Maybe he's like, he knew that was
he
coming.
knew it, yeah. It's crazy.
I just think that when the Astros as a whole though, just their whole act is so lame now. When you think about what they were doing, the extents the lengths they were going to get information, and then that I think is lame. The fact that they were trying to. Their act though about it was like, they were obnoxious. Like at least, you know what? Let's not be JOs about it. Let's just keep it on the wraps. Don't don't let people start digging around. But they didn't think they were gonna get caught at all. They just
arrogance.
The garbage pail was arrogant. I mean, it was so loud.
Okay, so like you said, how did people not know? I mean, you see the one clip of Danny Farquhar, right?
Yeah.
Stepping off the mound, he figured it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this was the other thing I wanted. You kind of intimated this, right? Back in the day, if Roger Clemens or Pedro Martinez are on the mound and they got any hint that somebody was doing that egregious act, what's happening?
Drilled in the head.
Someone's getting hit, and it's
Yeah.
probably a brawl.
You're gonna have some bruised ribs,
Yeah.
and you're not in the lineup the next day because you're gonna get worn out. But that's been taken out of the game. You understand why they want to try to keep guys safe, right? But that policing aspect of the game, probably if that was still the thought process, if that was still part of the fabric of the game today, it doesn't get that far. I don't
No
think
way.
it gets to where it got to.
No.
No, you're right.
Now I'm
No.
not saying that wearing guys out is always the answer, but it served the purpose. If you did it right, and we all knew when it was happening, when it would happen, right? I mean,
Yeah, we don't know how often that was happening, though, right? With the
Well,
With the
we were
garbage
playing,
can?
we-
garbage can.
they
Has
said
that-
it wasn't every game. Is what it wasn't. Well, it wasn't every game,
Yeah,
Because we found a new way with the buzzer.
right?
yeah, yeah.
We got
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they haven't handled it well, but it's not over. I mean, they're gonna have to make a public apology. I don't know how.
I don't think they are.
No, yeah, I think it's kind of over.
I think they have to.
They
this
shouldn't have
point.
put them in that situation to be interviewed like that because they don't know.
Fest.
It's not even. I don't even mind them handling it like they did poorly because they didn't know what do you say because some stuff's still up in the air. And
Well, that's just it.
Yeah,
that's why they're not
Yeah.
really talking.
Yeah, there's
anymore.
probably stuff we
There's
don't
still
even know
more
about.
Can
about
you
it.
own up to it
Yeah.
or not? It's a tough spot.
if Bregman goes, I'm sorry, they go, oh, he's the guy that got the sign. But what about Correa? He didn't apologize, so maybe he wasn't getting them. And now Bregman's
Yeah.
the name on it.
It's definitely in a tough spot.
But again,
I thought what's his name handled it fairly decent. The lefty that just signed with Chicago,
oh, he apologized, right? Keuchel?
Dallas Keuchel.
Oh yeah,
He
it's easier
he danced
though when
around
you're
it,
not
but
on the
he
team.
then he was
No, it's
part of-
easier when you're a pitcher
Yeah,
right.
and you weren't.
That's true, too.
But even let's talk
Yes.
about that. Even on the pitching aspect, look how Verlander, he's very vocal, likes to criticize everybody that he can when he can, right? And especially as it relates to the MLB and baseballs and everything, he's always got something to say. Mum's the word now, right?
Did you hear what he said when he got his award the other night?
No.
He talked about how the Astros are so advanced analytically and technologically. He said it during his speech, and the whole place they said was they were banging shit.
No.
that's
I guess
awesome.
what's his name? Who's the rookie?
Oh,
Who's the-
Ventura. No, Giordano.
Giordano Alvarez, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
Giordano
yeah.
Alvarez.
He won Rookie of the Year, maybe.
Yeah.
And they were banging stuff as he was going up there.
That's funny.
Yeah, in a very,
That's
pristine
great.
You
setting.
gotta
That's
love the
pretty
sense
funny.
of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But so as a player, you get called up. Let's say Bregman. This is going on 3 years ago. He's a young player, and they offer it to you. I mean, it's hard to say no at that point.
No, and that's
You
why it
know?
should be. You get in trouble, it's over, and it goes away because everybody's
Yeah.
got peer pressure. AJ Hinch had peer pressure. He said he's gonna try and stop it, but if he does, then that's a tough environment too.
Well, he clearly didn't have control of that clubhouse, if that was the case.
I guess, yeah.
And I know you have opinions on that. How
Well, maybe
managers
that's a
nowadays-
thought that I might lose the clubhouse if I stop this.
Right, there's probably some fear of that as well. But you know how
Well, everyone's equal now, so
right? Yeah,
it is.
you talk Mike Fires talked about guys losing jobs, right? And that's a real thing. I think that's.
Sure.
I think if you're a kid who gets called up from AAA, call it a spot start, or maybe it was your auditioning, right? Because it's all an audition. Every time you get an opportunity, we talk about this. It's always an audition, right? And you have to face the Astros that day, and they got their scheme going on, and you put up they put up a 5 spot on you after 2 innings, and guess what? That you might not ever get that call again.
Mhm.
That's a real thing.
Yep.
But it
But
happened in other forms
Yes.
forever.
Forever. The steroid era. We played in the steroid era.
Yes.
Those guys that made it because of steroids, what are we saying? There's a ton of guys who didn't make it because of it. You
There
know what I mean?
will be some guys in the Hall of Fame that use steroids. It's inevitable. And that's going to be overlooked, and it's no big deal because time passed. It'll probably happen with this too, but I just feel like right now everybody's making such a huge deal about it. It went on. It's like I said, I don't think it's great for baseball. You have a different opinion on that, but at the end of the day, I think it was worse for baseball for like teams like the Mets and Red Sox to fire their guys because they should have just set this thing straight. This is what happened. We're gonna move forward. Is what it is.
Right. It's almost like when it was just like the Mitchell report, right? When Selig threw the players under the bus back in the day. And he was an owner at the time while he was also acting commissioner. All those guys are fully aware of what's going on. You know what I mean? But everybody was.
That was an interesting topic, and now I guess it's over.
Do you guys have a system over at Tech? that you're gonna use?
Nah, we try to keep it as simple as possible. We don't, when we give signs at high school and college, I call it like 30 to 40% success rate.
Of them picking it up?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
bad.
insane.
30 to 40%. Wow.
Yeah. I got guys that take the signs, that don't know the signs, but they look at you and they take them. And they're like, uh-huh. And then I'll ask them, what were you doing? I don't know the signs. Why'd you take them?
And how many signs do you guys have?
Oh, it's hard.
That's my point.
Yeah, it's
Remember
super easy.
what we had in college.
Oh, I know
Every-
every part of your body was a
Yep.
sign.
Every hitter had their own indicator.
So
That
you
was the
had
Birchfield system.
How did he remember that?
You just said, you knew the sequence on the body of where 1 through 9 was, but you had to know where you were hitting that day
And who was
and
hitting
who
where.
was hitting, 2 outs, bases loaded. You're on third. You're 6 hitters in. You're like, all right, I'm bat second, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's batting eighth. Okay, it's the right knee. Boom.
Wow, that's really in depth.
Yeah,
Maybe that's why you guys got beat up by Miami.
that's why we didn't win many games. No.
but I don't. Not too many signs were missed.
No?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. There was a little more fear to it.
Yeah.
You got to hold them accountable.
It's
that's what
nauseating
you gotta
trying
do.
to
You
keep all these
you
kids
gotta
accountable.
Pull them out of the game.
Yeah.
They miss a sign. That's it. I think that's what Herschel.
You only
probably
have
would've done.
48 on the roster. That's we might run out of guys.
No, we're down to 42 now.
So, all right. I think that'll do it for today, right?
Sounds good. Until next time.
See you.